stop. Breathe before you read another word, because what is reaching you right now is not meant for everyone. And you already know that. You've felt this pressure in your chest before, the quiet certainty that something inside you carries weight far beyond money, far beyond numbers, far beyond what this world calls wealth. This is not motivation. This is recognition. Your light has been watched, measured, feared, and whispered about in rooms you were never invited into, and still, here you are hearing this. That alone tells you who you are. Stay with me until the very end of this message, and when you do, write your warmest wishes in the comments and write 99 because your words carry energy, and what you release now will return to you. And if you feel this message is for you, stay connected to this space so you don't miss what comes next. You've been told your entire life that wealth is something you chase, something you earn, something stored in vaults and numbers. But you were never built to chase. You were built to emit. That is why your presence disrupts rooms without you speaking. That is why certain people feel uneasy around you for reasons they cannot explain. The system understands money. It does not understand light. And what cannot be understood cannot be controlled. Scripture hinted at this long before language was softened and meanings were buried. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Most read this as comfort. You are meant to read it as strategy. Darkness does not fear coins. Darkness fears exposure. Darkness fears frequency. Darkness fears what happens when light moves through blood, breath, and bone without permission. You carry a frequency that originates deeper than thought. It rises from the base of your spine, travels upward through your nervous system, and blooms behind your eyes. That pressure you feel in your forehead when you are silent too long, that is not imagination. That is alignment. The breath you take when everything suddenly becomes still, that is calibration. Your body knows before your mind remembers. This is why distraction has followed you aggressively. This is why fatigue appears when you are closest to clarity. This is why confusion tries to sit where knowing belongs. The masses are managed through noise. You are targeted through interference, not because you are dangerous in action, but because you are dangerous in awareness. There is a reason the verse says, "Your body is a temple." Not metaphorically. Technically, temples are not built to store gold. They are built to channel presence. The heart is not a pump alone. It is a generator. The blood is not just fluid, it is memory. The brain is not the source, it is the receiver. And your breath is the switch. Here is the first sacred process. It is simple, which is why it has been hidden in plain sight. Sit still, spine straight but relaxed. Place your attention, not your imagination, on your breath. Inhale slowly through the nose for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale through the mouth for 6. As you exhale, silently acknowledge, I do not chase, I emit. Do this 9 times, not more, not less. This resets the rhythm between your heart and your mind. Most people rush breathing. You are learning to command it. You may feel warmth along your spine. You may feel a subtle vibration in your chest or hands. You may feel nothing at all. Sensation is not the goal. Alignment is. The effect shows later when clarity arrives without effort, when decisions make themselves, when doors open without explanation. Understand this. Money is loud. Light is quiet. Money announces itself. Light waits to be noticed by those who can see. That is why those who worship wealth fear people like you. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. Your presence alone destabilizes narratives built on lack. Those who have eyes to see, let them see. This was never about vision, it was about perception. Most eyes are open, few are receptive. If these words are settling into you rather than bouncing off, it's because something in you recognizes the signal. Not everyone was meant to hear this. That's not arrogance. That's design. You've noticed the mirror effect, haven't you? how people project their unresolved fear onto you, how admiration and resentment arrive from the same place. Light reflects truth, and truth is uncomfortable to those invested in illusion. This is why your path often feels solitary, not as punishment but as protection. You are not here to accumulate, you are here to activate. Wealth follows activation, not the other way around. When your inner frequency stabilizes, the external reorganizes around it. This is not philosophy, this is pattern. There is more being prepared for you, layers you have not accessed yet, processes you will recognize the moment they are revealed. Pay attention to repetition in your life. Pay attention to symbols that follow you. Pay attention to what returns when you try to ignore it. This transmission does not end. It unfolds, and you are already inside it. Listen carefully now, because what follows is quieter than fear and heavier than truth. If you're still here, it's not by habit. It's because something in you recognized that the silence between these words feels familiar, like a room you've been in before, long before this lifetime learned your name. This is where separation begins. Not dramatic, not loud, subtle, internal, irreversible. You've already sensed that your light doesn't behave like other people's. It doesn't flicker with approval. It doesn't dim with rejection. It doesn't rise with praise. It remains. And that constancy is precisely what unsettles systems built on fluctuation. Markets rise and fall. Empires expand and collapse. But a stabilized frequency, that cannot be predicted. And what cannot be predicted cannot be owned. This is why control structures never speak directly about inner light. They rename it, they fragment it, they turn it into self-help, personality, motivation, belief. Anything but what it truly is, a sovereign internal source. Scripture warned of this obliquely. You cannot serve two masters. This was not moral instruction, it was energetic law. You cannot anchor yourself to an external authority while activating an internal one. One dissolves the other. You have felt this tension. The quiet pull away from crowds, the growing discomfort with shallow ambition, the strange exhaustion that comes from pretending to care about things that no longer touch you. This is not apathy. This is refinement. Your nervous system is recalibrating to a narrower, cleaner signal. Fewer distractions, fewer attachments, more clarity, more weight. Understand this deeply. Fear is not their weapon. Urgency is. Scarcity is. Noise is. Your light dissolves urgency simply by slowing the breath. It dissolves scarcity by revealing sufficiency in the body itself. When you are fully present in your blood and breath, lack loses its narrative power. That is why stillness has always been discouraged. A still being cannot be rushed. A being that cannot be rushed cannot be manipulated. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Freedom here is not escape. It is internal coherence. When your thoughts, breath, heartbeat, and intention align, you become difficult to steer from the outside. This is why distraction feels almost aggressive lately. The closer you get to coherence, the louder the interruptions become. That is not coincidence. That is resistance. Now comes the second sacred process. This one works through the body, not the mind. Stand or sit with your feet flat, spine upright. Place one hand over your heart, the other just below your navel. Breathe normally at first. Then, with each inhale, feel the breath rise from the lower hand to the upper. With each exhale, feel it descend again. After several breaths, silently state, I gather what was scattered. Do this until the sensation of fragmentation softens. You are not summoning anything. You are reclaiming. This process reconnects the lower centers of survival with the higher centers of perception. Most people live cut in half. Instinct fighting intuition. You are restoring the circuit. This is why afterward decisions feel cleaner, less debate, less inner conflict, action without friction. You may notice something else as this alignment deepens. People respond to you differently. Some lean in without knowing why. Others pull away abruptly. This is the mirror effect activating. Light does not persuade, it reveals. And revelation is uncomfortable to those who rely on masks to survive. Do not chase their comfort. Your role is not to soften yourself to fit environments that were never built to hold you. The verse says, "A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Notice it does not say should not. It says cannot. Visibility is a consequence, not a choice. Even when you try to withdraw, something about you remains noticeable. This is why anonymity never fully worked for you. Your light leaks through behavior, timing, presence. You don't announce it. Others feel it. Here is the truth most will never hear. Wealth fears light because light exposes the illusion that wealth creates power. Power was always internal. Wealth merely imitates it. When someone encounters a being who carries power without dependence, the hierarchy trembles. This is why truly sovereign individuals are either elevated symbolically or quietly marginalized, rarely engaged directly. Pay attention to patterns of delay in your life, not blocks, delays. Timing that feels intentional rather than accidental. This is not punishment, it is insulation. Certain doors open only when your frequency stabilizes enough to walk through without losing yourself. Rushed access would fracture you, and you are being preserved, not hurried. You may begin to feel a strange intimacy with the future, as if something ahead of you already knows you. That sensation is not fantasy. It is resonance across time. When a frequency stabilizes, it echoes forward. Paths respond, events reorganize, people appear at precise moments. This is not manifestation in the shallow sense. This is alignment asserting itself. Most people won't understand this. They will call it luck, coincidence, confidence, arrogance, spirituality, anything that keeps them from acknowledging the deeper mechanism. Let them. Your work is not explanation. It is embodiment. You are not being prepared to dominate. You are being prepared to stand unmoved while structures rearrange themselves around you. That is why your light is the wealth they fear. It cannot be taxed, frozen, inflated, or seized. It multiplies through presence alone. There are further layers ahead, processes that involve sound, silence, and timing in ways you have not yet practiced. When the moment arrives, you will recognize it instantly. Until then, stay attentive to what drains you and what restores you. Your body is already giving instructions. This transmission continues because you continue. And if you are still reading, it's because something in you already knows there is more. Be still for a moment before going on, not because this part is heavier, but because it moves deeper. If part 2 felt like separation, this will feel like pressure, a good pressure, the kind that forms diamonds, not fractures bones. If you are still here, it means your inner structure can hold more voltage than most. That is not a compliment. It is a responsibility. There is something you must understand now, and it may unsettle you at first. Your light does not merely exist. It reorganizes environments. This is why chaos sometimes follows you into rooms where nothing seemed wrong before. This is why conversations change tone when you speak truth calmly. This is why systems, familial, professional, emotional, begin to wobble when you stop performing and start being. Light reveals fault lines, not to destroy, but to expose what was already unstable. Scripture concealed this mechanism carefully. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. Read it internally, not historically. The sword is discernment. Division is clarity. When light intensifies, false cohesion dissolves. What cannot survive truth separates from what can. This is not cruelty, this is sorting. Your nervous system has been training for this longer than you realize. The moments of overwhelm, The periods of isolation, the times you felt overstimulated by crowds, noise, expectation, those were not weaknesses. They were early warnings that your system processes more information, more subtly, more deeply. You were never meant to numb yourself to survive. You were meant to refine yourself to lead frequency. Here is what most people will never be told. Control is maintained not through force, but through rhythm, wake cycles, work cycles, fear cycles, consumption cycles. Break one rhythm and the whole pattern destabilizes. Your light disrupts rhythm simply by existing outside it. You don't panic when others rush. You don't crave when others hunger. You don't react when others are baited. That calm is not passivity, it is sovereignty. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Again, this was not poetic advice. Renewal implies replacement. Old circuits dissolve, new ones form, and this process is not comfortable. When the brain rewires, the body resists. When identity upgrades, the ego protests. That tension you feel lately between who you were and who you are becoming, that is neurological, not psychological. Your brain is learning to hold a higher coherence without collapsing into anxiety or arrogance. Now comes the third sacred process. This one works through soundless vibration. At some point today or tonight, place yourself in silence. No music, no words, no guided anything. Sit or lie down. Place your awareness, not effort, on the space just behind your sternum. Breathe naturally. With each inhale, imagine, not visualize, sense that the breath widens that space. With each exhale, allow whatever pressure or emotion is there to soften outward. After several minutes, internally affirm, I stabilize my frequency. Do not repeat it. Say it once, then remain silent. This process teaches your system something crucial, that power does not require repetition. Only insecurity does. One clear signal, fully embodied, is enough. This is how your presence begins to carry weight without effort. This is how your words begin to land differently, slower, deeper, unavoidable. You may notice after this practice that time feels different. Moments stretch. Delays feel intentional. Urgency loses its grip. This is because your internal clock is detaching from external pressure. When that happens, intuition sharpens. Decisions arrive fully formed. You stop asking, what should I do, and start recognizing what is already done. This is also when soft isolation intensifies. People may misunderstand you more frequently. Old dynamics may no longer function. Some will accuse you silently or openly of changing, becoming distant, becoming too much, or not enough. Do not defend yourself. Light does not argue with shadow. It remains, and the shadow either integrates or retreats. You are in the world, but not of the world. This is not spiritual escapism. It is operational positioning. You participate without being consumed. You observe without dissociating. You act without attachment. This balance is rare. It cannot be taught to those who are still addicted to validation. But if you're here, it's because validation has already started losing its flavor. Understand this clearly. Your light is not meant to save everyone. It is meant to signal. Those who resonate will move closer. Those who don't will self-select out. This is efficiency, not elitism. Nature operates this way. Frequencies match. Others fall away. No apology required. There is something ahead, an intersection of timing and choice that will test whether you trust this internal authority fully. When it arrives, it will not announce itself as important. It will feel almost ordinary. That is how alignment works. The most consequential moments often whisper. You will recognize it not by excitement, but by stillness. Most people will never reach this stage because they mistake noise for movement and comfort for truth. You are learning to recognize subtle power, the kind that does not need proof. This is why wealth fears your light, not because you want what it has, but because you remind it that it was never the source. Stay attentive, stay embodied, Stay slow enough to feel what others rush past. The transmission does not pause here, it deepens, and you are already prepared for what comes next. Pause again, not out of hesitation, but out of respect for what is shifting now. This is the point where many turn back without realizing they've done so, not because the path becomes frightening, but because it becomes quiet. And quiet is intolerable to those who still depend on external confirmation. If you are still here, it's because silence has started to feel like home rather than absence. By now, you've noticed something unmistakable. You no longer react the way you used to. Triggers arrive, but they don't hook. Pressure appears, but it doesn't rush you. Praise lands, but it doesn't inflate you. Criticism passes, but it doesn't pierce you. This is not numbness. This is insulation. Your internal field has thickened, and thickness, density of presence, is what creates gravity. This is where the fear of your light intensifies, though rarely openly, because a being who cannot be emotionally steered becomes strategically unpredictable. You can't be baited into haste. You can't be bribed with validation. You can't be threatened with loss in the same way. That is not arrogance. That is freedom from leverage. And systems survive on leverage. Scripture hid this truth behind humility language. The meek shall inherit the earth. Meekness was never weakness. It was restraint under power, the ability to act without compulsion, the capacity to remain calm while holding strength in reserve. A person who does not need to prove power possesses it. You are entering the phase where your light stops announcing itself internally and starts operating externally without your conscious effort. This is when influence becomes ambient. People mirror your pace. Conversations slow when you enter. Emotional volatility dampens in your presence. Sometimes conflict escalates briefly before dissolving. This is energetic recalibration in real time. You are not doing it. You are allowing it. Here is what most never realize. Power that seeks expression burns itself out. Power that stabilizes becomes infrastructure. You are no longer here to shine brightly for attention. You are here to hold steady so others can orient. That is why your light is feared, not because it dominates, but because it redefines reference points. Be still and know. Stillness is not inactivity. It is coherence without leakage. When internal dialogue quiets, perception sharpens. When perception sharpens, timing improves. When timing improves, effort decreases. This is the chain reaction you are living inside now. Now comes the fifth sacred process. This one involves restraint rather than action. For one full day, not necessarily consecutive hours, but intentionally, practice delayed response. When something provokes emotion, do not suppress it. Simply delay expression. Breathe once, then twice. Let the sensation complete its arc inside your body before deciding whether it needs to be externalized. Most reactions dissolve within seconds when not fed. This teaches your nervous system that it does not need to discharge energy immediately to remain safe. This process builds what can only be called internal authority. You stop leaking power through impulsive expression. Words become chosen rather than reflexive. Silence becomes an option rather than avoidance. And when you do speak, people listen, not because you are louder, but because you are cleaner. As this integrates, you may feel an unusual sensation, a subtle warmth or pressure in the chest that does not correspond to emotion. This is coherence settling, heart rhythm synchronizing with breath, blood carrying information evenly rather than chaotically. This is why ancient texts spoke of a peace that surpasses understanding. Understanding lives in the mind. Peace lives in the body. There will also be moments of doubt, not about the path, but about isolation. You may wonder why so few can meet you at this depth. This is where many try to lower themselves to feel less alone. Resist that impulse gently. You are not meant to descend. You are meant to remain visible so resonance can do its work. Those who can meet you will arrive without being chased. You are the salt of the earth. Salt preserves, it stabilizes, it enhances without overwhelming. Too much ruins, too little allows decay. You are learning proportion now, how much presence to offer, where and when. This discernment cannot be taught intellectually. It emerges through lived calibration. You may also begin to notice that material concerns lose their emotional charge. You still function. You still participate. But fear around survival diminishes. This is not recklessness, it is trust rooted in embodiment. When your system knows how to regulate itself, external instability loses its power to terrify. This is why wealth fears your light, because your nervous system is no longer for sale. Panic doesn't drive your decisions. Desire doesn't cloud your judgment. Urgency doesn't compress your timing. You cannot be rushed into bad alignment. And someone who cannot be rushed cannot be harvested efficiently. There is another transition approaching, one that will feel less like growth and more like placement, a sense of being positioned rather than striving. When it happens, it will not feel euphoric. It will feel right, almost anticlimactic. That is how alignment announces itself. Do not rush toward it. Do not analyze it. Let it settle. Your role now is simple, though not easy. Remain internally clean. Notice what distorts your frequency and step back from it, without drama. Nourish what stabilizes you. Breath, posture, silence, deliberate speech. These are not habits. They are maintenance protocols for a system carrying rare voltage. Most will never reach this stage because it requires giving up the performance of becoming special. You have already passed that threshold. You no longer need to believe you are chosen. You are behaving like it. And that is why the transmission continues, not to convince you, but to accompany you as the next layer reveals itself. Do not rush through this last movement. Let it arrive the way dawn does, quietly, without announcement, undeniable only after it has already changed the sky. If you are here now, it means the transmission has completed its work inside you, not by adding anything new, but by removing what was never yours to carry. This is the point where identity dissolves into function. You no longer ask what you are becoming. You recognize what you already are. The seeking has slowed because the signal has stabilized. You are no longer chasing confirmation. You are emanating coherence. And coherence is the final form of authority. There is a reason the texts say, "Before I formed you, I knew you." Knowledge here was not prediction. It was recognition across time. You were not chosen because of what you would do. You were chosen because of what you could hold. Pressure without collapse, visibility without corruption, power without hunger. These are rare capacities. They are not taught. They are revealed under strain. Now you understand why wealth fears your light, not because you oppose it, not because you reject it, but because you render it secondary. Money moves through systems of agreement. Your light moves through systems of truth. Agreements can be rewritten. Truth cannot. When someone encounters a being who is internally supplied, regulated by breath, aligned through spine, coherent in blood and heart, the illusion that value must be externally granted begins to crack, and cracks spread. This is why you were trained in patience instead of speed, why delay shaped you more than acceleration, why isolation refined you more than crowds. You were being taught to remain intact while forces moved around you, to stand without gripping, to walk without rushing, to speak without needing echo. The final sacred process is not an action, it is a posture toward life. From this point forward, practice non-interference. When something aligns, move. When it resists, pause. When confusion arises, return to the body, not the mind. Breath first, spine second, heart last. This order matters. The breath clears noise. The spine stabilizes flow. The heart decides direction. Reverse the order and emotion clouds judgment. keep it, and clarity returns quickly. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. This is not moral advice, it is energetic hygiene. Ambivalence leaks power, clean decisions seal it. You will notice now that fewer choices present themselves, but each one carries more consequence. That is not limitation, that is precision. You may also notice something else. Fear has nowhere to land. It may appear, but it does not root, because fear feeds on imagined futures, and you are now anchored in presence. Not spiritual presence, physiological presence. Breath moving, blood warm, spine upright, awareness steady. This is why ancient wisdom always returned to the body. Enlightenment was never escape, it was inhabitation. You are the light of the world. Not a metaphor, a statement of function. Light does not argue with darkness, it does not chase it away. It remains, and darkness reorganizes or withdraws. From this place, you no longer need to correct others. You do not need to convince. Your alignment does the work quietly. Some will feel drawn to you without knowing why. Others will feel threatened without reason. Both responses confirm the same truth. Your signal is active. Do not manage their reactions. Do not dim yourself to soothe them. A lighthouse does not apologize to the sea. This is where dependence on the continuation transforms into trust in yourself. The transmission does not end because it was never external. It was an activation sequence, layer by layer, until recognition became unavoidable. You were never meant to hoard light. You were meant to hold it steady while the world recalibrates around it. And it will. Slowly, unevenly, uncomfortably at first, but inevitably. Because wealth can be feared, lost, manipulated, or seized. Light that is embodied cannot. Stand where you are. Breathe as you are. Move when it is time. You are no longer preparing. You are positioned. And what comes next will recognize you, not because you announce yourself, but because you are already aligned with it.